so that we can cover most of the questions people have. Now, very shocking information is that in COVID period, Indians brought over 500 crore pills of vitamin C, zinc, multivitamins to battle COVID in 2020. So, is this useful in spite of the research showing that no effect of these vitamin pills for COVID-19, people still continue to buy. Why? They have clearly shown there is no significant benefit or in reducing the symptoms. But in our tradition, we use a lot of spices and we are very clear about what is food and what is supplement, what are herbal supplements, when and why we should use it. Now there are a lot of information on health aspects of herbs. Example, in COVID time, Kabasura Kudinir powder was very popular and people were promoting it and people were using it without understanding this, the real fact that it is not a traditional approach. It is just because it is a herb, people think that it is the panacea. I will explain why it is not a traditional knowledge to use just Kabasira Kudinir powder, a herbal powder for improving our immunity. If you look at who marketed it, are all these companies which sell any supplements because people like to take shortcuts. But what is our traditional knowledge? Our traditional knowledge says food is medicine. And now there are people awakening to this reality, and a lot of new conferences are coming up showing that food is the real medicine. Now, there are a lot of evidence that history of vitamins and supplement through advertising only has reached the people, but there is no proof that they are really working, meaning that is it audible to everybody and the screen is audible?
Yeah, sir, you're audible and the screen is visible.
Okay, so now let's see. Even scientific paper last year in 2021, they showed very clearly social responsibility and misleading advertising of health products on the radio or on the media. And here in the red on the right side, it is very clearly concluded that it can be stated that the professionals of the agencies do not perceive the existence of misleading advertising in the health sector. Meaning doctors or anybody in the health, they do not know that they are actually promoting misleading advertising products. And it is the most dangerous, and the damage is that advertising deception can cause to consumers should be considered. So what we have to understand that just because some health professionals, maybe your allopathic doctor or homeopathic doctor or Ayurvedic or Siddha, they are providing or recommending food supplements does not mean that they are correct, because that's what research shows, that it could be misleading. Now, if we think of a traditional food store, grocery store, it is very, very sad to see that this section is very, very small. But if you look at the major products that are shown, like I was in the US for almost 23 years, and I was always amazed to see that, or surprised to see that the biggest sections were for food supplements. because people became lazy to cook food, and not only lazy, they become ignorant looking at the advertisement saying that these are the real food and they bring health. Now, where did it all start from is what again we are going to see in a little bit depth. So dietary supplements started, and you can see they started with small pills, and it started with herbs, vitamin supplements, minerals, proteins, probiotic, and the latest is fecal pills. I'll come to the details, but you have to understand on the top I have written the what is the market. 220.8 billion or 2220 million is the market for dietary supplements. So it is all these companies that are promoting, not really any research. True research is not promoting any of these things. This, we have to be very clear through this talk. We should really understand what is the reality and what is advertisement and what are company products. So again, if you look at into the Google, you can get all this information. Now, if you look at this market share, the major were vitamins. Later on, you can see in the blue color on the left side, then the orange color, next bigger share is herbs and botanicals. Then come sports supplements, then come meal supplements, then minerals and other things. But now suddenly there is a big leap of probiotics. Why? Because of gut microbiome research. So we have to really understand research is different from what you are hearing in the media. Media is about advertisement and marketing of profit-making business products. But what research shows is the reality. So now, if you look at who started it, actually, a company called Metagen in 1920, they started the supplement production and also marketing. Metagen is nothing but now the controversial COVID vaccine, Pfizer's subsidiary company. So they started this commercial venture of making the supplements. So this is what they started with, 325 milligram of concentrated vitamin extracts. So again, vitamin is, the term was given by McCollum, a great nutritionist in US. He said there is something like amino compounds that are really vital for our health. So vital amino, he called as vitamin. The vitamins then got that name from McCollum. Then later on, I will show what happened in history. So in 1920s, vitamin A and C also started to be surging because people were thinking that this supplement contained all the miraculous compounds and that alone is enough, we will be completely healthy. Then because people started believing all this, by 1941, then other vitamin supplements came to the market like A, B1, B2, B3, and CD, and calcium and iron. Then 68, it increased. Then today we have so many supplements, which I'm showing in the next few slides, where herbs, minerals, etc. it started. Now, I'm not going into the details of the history, but few points is very important to consider. Now, all this started when the Western people wanted to come to India. Why India? India was a super power because first is on knowledge. We not only had the complete understanding of spiritual knowledge, but also about energy and all about food and life. Every complete knowledge we had. With that knowledge, we had the most health system, Siddha and Ayurveda also. And we were using the most important healthy products, herbs, which we also connected for people to easily follow in the name of religion and gods. So that is why all the gods have the gods that are depicted in the temples, the one that are protection like Durga, Kali, or the Karupaswamy, they will have all the tools with the lemon on it. And all the goddesses like Devi, they will be offered turmeric and pepper. So these three were really protective. And the West knew that, and they had chilies, red chili and green chilies, but they knew they were not really protectors. They had some benefit, but the real thing was on pepper and turmeric. But they had to take a long journey to come to India to buy it. So the Arabs were middle agents or the so-called distributors. They purchased from India, especially from Kerala, South India, Tamil Nadu, and they were selling in Turkey, Persia, and to Greece and Rome, and then it went to US. But later on, they wanted to really avoid the distributors, come directly to India, and that's how they started more ship voyaging. Now, when they were doing ship voyaging, most of the people who were coming in ship, they have to be without fresh foods for almost several months. So they started getting severe diseases. They were thinking at that time it is caused by some microorganism, viruses, or bacteria, until some scientists did studies and found that it is actually caused by deficiency of food. It need not always be some mysterious microorganism. So this is one of the table that I'm presenting here. They did a study in those days to see when fresh lemon juice and fresh lime juice were given versus stored and commercial samples were given, what amount of protection were obtained by eating this. You can see on the right side the plus. Zero means no effect in commercial samples or stored samples. But in fresh, they did have pluses. And where is a more plus coming? From lemon. And you should know the difference between lime and lemon. Lemon is the one which is really, really good. You should drink at least 2.5 ml, which is 2 tablespoons of lemon juice every day. So that's a real protection. But later on, other disease like beriberi, skin disease like pellagra, all this started, and people were thinking that this can be prevented by dietary supplements. But now again, I have told in several talks, but I will repeat one more time that will really hit your understanding that when did all this again become worse? Now it became worse, though the knowledge was there. See, first there was ignorance in the West. They did not know why pellagra, why scurvy, beriberi, all these neuronal diseases, skin diseases came. But later on, when the research proved it, it is actually because of deficiency of some vitamins and minerals. Then they recommended to eat those foods. But now there were some there were some companies, they started making these pills and giving to people because people were lazy and they thought this is the best way. So now what happened was, like when they discovered from polished rice, the polished, the red components in the rice and the black rice and red rice, those bran, when they were given to people or animals who had these diseases, all these diseases got cured. They got Nobel Prize for this wonderful finding. So what these companies did was they took that research knowledge and made into commercial way. What did they do in commercial way? They started selling those rice those vitamins from the rice. Now, what was a waste product was white rice. So now they started dumping the white rice around their company, but people around started complaining to the municipality that this company that is selling nutritional supplement like vitamin B complex, they are putting some waste product like this white rice in the neighborhood, and a lot of rats and insects are breeding. So please ask them to remove that. So the municipality took action on these companies, and the companies hired some guys to take these waste white rice and dump outside where people were living. But the guys who took that, they thought, okay, we are already being paid for it. Why not give it to some people? They sold it for cheap, whatever money they got, probably 5 rupees or 10 rupees. And again, people who are lazy and who wanted to save money, they started to buy this white rice. That is how the white rice became very, very cheap. Even now, white rice is cheap. But if you go for red rice and black rice, they're very, very expensive. But again, we are all ignorant that we are buying waste product. But the real product is the red rice and the black rice, which has the nutrients to prevent all these diseases. So not only rice, then they started not only making vitamin supplements. Next came the minerals, especially iron for anemia. They started extracting iron from jaggery, which is very, very rich in iron. And what is a waste product? White sugar. Again, they threw outside. Again, the complaint came and they had to hire somebody to throw it outside the premises of the people. And somebody sold it for cheaper price and people started to buy the waste product, white sugar. Same way, vitamin E, which is very, very important for fertility. There will not be any fertility issues if somebody takes natural vitamin E, but companies started to make it in pills. People started to buy. There is really no effect. But whatever they took and threw was this refined oils. We started using it. And now we are paying high price for buying this vitamin and minerals and supplements and still continue to suffer the disease without any cure. And again, I will stop here to go into that details where the crippled Tokyo and Japanese Navy were all this white rice and not the people who are eating the whole foods. So that's what I have been showing, the refined oil, the cold pressed oils and all. After this came the protein supplements. Again, people who want to build the body, they used movie stars for their advertisement, these companies, because they understood that people were again ignorant. They were thinking the actor and the character are different. They were thinking that whatever the stars they see, they were real people who were living by the character they portrayed in the movies. So that is how they started making these protein tonics and supplements. Even now, people are taking these supplements. So now, what is really research showing? Research like Pennsylvania Medicine, Harvard University, all these top class universities and many institutes all over the world are doing real research, and look at what they say. They are very clear. They show here, you see the first point, despite all the amount of research from 1999, they've spent almost 2.4 billion amount for all the funding the research studies. They found that there is no real evidence to show vitamin pills and mineral pills really help. Most studies suggest that multiple vitamins do not make you live longer, slow cognitive decline, or increase your chances of, lowering your chances of disease like heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. They also made rules. It is illegal for companies to make claims that supplement will treat, diagnose, and prevent or cure disease. But in spite of all this, we are misled and we continue to buy the supplements. They also concluded that supplements are not at all safe. It is actually toxic. Now, remember that natural means safe. It is all name of the brand. Nothing, people think that a name natural means it is something really natural. It is like if you ask a person's name, his name may be Arogya Sami. That doesn't mean he is Arogya, he is healthy. There will be a person called Vellai Sami. He will be black in color or dark in color. It doesn't mean that the name is not equating, the name is not equating to what reality is. The same way, don't be fooled by words like natural and similar misleading terms. So now the question comes, there are people who have benefited by these supplements. So you are giving misinformation to the public. No, I'm not giving any misinformation. I certainly have seen even myself given the food supplements to people who need temporarily to fix the problem. So it is a temporary fix, but not a real fix, and it is not advisable for a long term. Temporarily, if somebody, many people have come with anemia, I said you take vitamin supplements, iron supplements, but only for a very, very short period. Then by the time, along with that, you have to take the real food. It's like when somebody falls and breaks their leg, definitely we have to give them support for them to stand up because they need the crutches. But that doesn't mean lifelong they can walk with the crutches. They have to be free from these crutches by fixing the real problem, which is treating the knee. So the same way, definitely these supplements, vitamin, herbs, or whatever it is, they all have a short-term benefit, and it is good to use it whenever and wherever needed for very short-term temporary benefits. But more and more now supplements are coming where anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, anti-aging, youthful, all the supplements are now coming because more and more research are showing that inflammation is the root cause for all diseases. We have given talks in the previous showing that inflammation is one single problem, but wherever and whichever organ it comes, the names are different, but inflammation is the cause for all diseases. So again, taking anti-inflammatory compounds, we give simple, a short-term benefit, but in the long term, it will not help. But what are really helping is, now again, the truth-giving research shows that it is the gut bacteria that really prevents most of the diseases, and they are the real vitamin supplements producing factories in our gut. Many of these bacteria produce several vitamins, especially vitamin B complex, B12, and several other unknown factors still yet to be discovered, which is a huge topic, but I'll move into the next, where I'm showing what is this microbiome, what is this gut bacteria. There are more than 60 to 600 trillions of fungi, bacteria, and viruses that are in our large intestine, and they are called microbiota or microbiome. There are good bacteria and bad bacteria. What is the difference between good and bad? Good or friendly bacteria eat our food, whatever we eat, that food they eat, and they in turn they give help back by producing all these vitamins. But what are the bad friends who only exploit us, take our money, and steal our energy? Same way, there are bacteria. They will feed or attack our own cells, and they extract their energy and cause disease. So they are the bad bacteria. So it is the balance of the good and bad. Actually, it is not even a balance. We should have high ratio of good bacteria or friendly bacteria. It is like good security guards or police in a village or in a town versus the number of thieves or robbers, or it is number of good friends we have who help us versus bad friends means they exploit us. That ratio is what we call as dysbiosis and eubiosis. Eubiosis means we have more friendly bacteria who are helping us. Bad bacteria will cause, if they are more, then we call it as dysbiosis. Now, what causes dysbiosis? Our food habits. If we eat refined foods like white rice, white sugar, white or refined oils, and food that are sprayed with pesticides and all these toxic compounds, preservatives, etc., they will kill the good bacteria in us. So now more research is showing that The soil is also having the same problem like we are having now. Now, not only we started taking supplements, these companies that make the vitamin supplements are the ones who also make fertilizers and pesticides. You have to understand the companies that make the food supplements like vitamin pills, they are the one that they also make antibiotics. They are the one which supply both. We cannot blame them because it is their business. And they are catering to the people who are lazy, who want to be ignorant, and it is okay to suffer in diseases. For them, they are catering. Everybody need not take that. And we are not against these companies. They are also giving short-term benefit. The same with the plant, they started using fertilizers. So like nitrogen, like amines, nitrogen, like proteins have nitrogen, which are very essential for the body. The same way for the plants, they started producing urea and type of fertilizers and pesticides. Then what happened is, now we understand we are creating dysbiosis in the soil. There are good bacteria in the soil, bad bacteria in the soil. Bad bacteria will attack the plants, will cause disease, and that's why we are spraying a lot of pesticides on the plants, because we are killing or we are causing dysbiosis in the soil. So like we cause dysbiosis in our gut, then we have to take antibiotics. There is no way we have a help, because we have reduced the good bacteria and increase the bad bacteria, then more infection will happen. Then naturally we have to give antibiotics. So this is a simple way to understand about health. Now we see that all these are publications not by us, but from excellent research groups. They are showing that three things are very important: the human, the plants, and the cow. And that is why in our tradition, cow is considered as God. Why? And it is respected because that is actually bringing about the soil microbiome to a healthy state. I can talk completely on this, but I will just give only one point, saying that cow nourishes both the human and the soil. So complete living, the whole world is helped by cow. That is why we call it as like God. And people have misunderstood and misled with wrong information, and they started killing the cows or also giving them the bad food like feed, cattle feed. I have talked in detail about the cattle feed. Most of the cattle feed is the cow's dried blood itself. So all this have caused a complete dysbiosis in our system. And now cancer, diabetes, heart diseases, and many more diseases are skyrocketing. There is no cure. People are given chemotherapy, radiation therapy, Parkinson's disease, depression, other neuropsychological diseases are increasing. It is again, we spoiled the microorganisms which are friendly. Today I was sharing that there are microorganisms in the soil when being in contact with when we are in contact with those microorganisms, depression vanishes. They have patented this bacteria because if it is present in our gut, it will produce serotonin, good brain hormones, and we can overcome depression. We can overcome children's autism, ADDH, Parkinson's syndrome. So many diseases we can cure, and you will be astonished to understand where did they find this microorganism. They found in the cow dung. They patented that organism. Again, I'm giving you the point that this is why Go Mata we call. Cow is called Go Mata. It is a mother, the godly mother. Go means godly or protective. The protective mother is Go Mata. So now this paper shows that last year in British Journal of Cancer, published by the leading journal, scientific paper, Nature, they said what the oncologist should know when they treat their patients. But unfortunately,